Remember, she's been with our podcast group that's a YouTube video for some time now. Today we have an excellent guest speaker, and he's going to talk to us about a project that he created a couple of years ago. He just flew in from Florida, and I believe there's a big event this weekend that he's going to be participating in. Linette, you want to introduce First Sergeant Dan Brown?
Yes, well, this is First Sergeant Dan Brown.
Hello, First Sergeant Dan Brown.
Good to see you. Good to meet you. And just share with our fellow veterans, sisters and brothers in arms about your program in Homefront Fishing and what led you to this particular project.
Okay. Really, it's a program that helps veterans and their families to deal with stress and anxiety related issues.
Why the water?
Why the water?
Why
Because it's peaceful.
Oh.
I don't know. There's something about it that relaxes me.
Okay.
And then adding fishing onto it and the conversation is just, I don't know. There's something about it if you haven't experienced it, you really got to experience it to understand. So how I came up with it is actually this event that I'm going to participate in tonight and tomorrow, which is the Fishing for Freedom tournament that's held annually here in Killeen. 2 years ago, I was lucky enough to catch, with the partner that I got partnered up with, we caught the most weight in fish and won the tournament. Yeah.
Yay.
And which started this in my head of, well, why can't we do this all the time? And so I started talking to a coworker named Cassie Campbell, and she just happened to know a great group of people that worked at this place called Counseling Solutions. And
That's us.
yeah, that's these people. And anyway, it really, right after that, it became reality pretty quick. And so here we are, and now I've opened up in Florida as well. So in Central Florida, we're doing the same thing. I don't have the counseling piece there yet, but I'm working on that. But we're still taking veterans fishing out there.
So what kind of a person would benefit from what you're offering?
Anybody that is having a bad day.
Wow.
I really, if it can be something as severe as PTSD to something as you just had a really bad day, and it's as long as you're a veteran, it's there to help you deal with that stress and anxiety.
But I think you had also said that you'd opened it to families,
Yeah.
veterans' families,
Mhm.
active duty. I mean,
Yeah.
you've made quite a splash here.
Yeah,
with
well,
the water splash.
Yeah.
Unintended.
Yeah.
Unintended.
That's good.
Thank you.
There are a lot of programs that I see out there for veterans, but what I didn't see is, and I have very little knowledge of it, but what I didn't see a lot of, at least for advertisement wise, was the help for the families as well, because when the veteran comes home with PTSD, there's still an effect on the family.
Mhm.
So that family is going to need some help to either help the veteran deal with that, or they're going to have their own issues internal to have to work through in order to help that relationship or that family.
Secondary PTSD, we know, affects the support system when the soldier comes home. And sometimes, like what you're saying, PTSD doesn't always just go away because someone gets out of the military.
Yes.
Just because they are retired or med-boarded doesn't mean that the disorder is too.
Right.
And so you're talking a lifelong of coping.
Absolutely.
And we see a lot of people through our intern clinic that offers free services, and then our Counseling Solutions for Pay clinic with the licensed therapist. We do a lot of family counseling.
Yes.
And I know that a number of the people we've taken out here, which we're very excited to be a connection with First Sergeant Dan Brown because this is the hub in Killeen. Miss Linette does the testing of people who call in. We want to make sure that everybody's in a stable situation before we take them out on the lake. And then we follow First Sergeant's plan and his connectivity plan that he put in place for us. And we take them out. But most of the people we've done have been family members, I believe. Yes, which has been real interesting. Although we get a lot of soldiers in, they're more concerned about their family members' level of stress than their own.
Yeah, it's the concern. It never goes away. There's this mindset, and I think you'll share. We're always thinking about the person left behind. And the concept is to not leave anyone behind. So that thought process of the level of stress that takes place in the home due to PTSD and everything that goes with it, that is that concern, that mindset of how this is affecting my loved ones and what can we do together. I forgot when I first got back here, when I returned to Fort Hood in 2011, I actually went out on the lake with Fishing for Freedom in 2012, and it was a really nice experience. I'm not a person to fish, but I do enjoy the water. I will agree with you. There is a very calming effect about being out there on the water. It's that solitude, that quiet, that interaction with nature, to where you can just hear, birds chirping. Because in the city, moving about, the day is so noisy, you don't hear a bird chirp. You don't notice the sounds of the waves when the water is rocking back and forth, and that lapping of the water. You don't hear that if you're not paying attention to it, and you can have that focus to really enjoy that very calming, melodic sound of the water when you're out there. The gratification, of course, is when you can get a fish. But sometimes when I think, and my dad used to fish, I just didn't enjoy it. I just like being out there with them. It's an opportunity to hold a conversation without the stress. Because it's not so direct one-on-one as it is just sitting side by side. So it seems less confrontational, less adversarial to be in unison side by side with another person, casting a line, and even if you don't catch anything, there's just something about it of being out there. And really, unless you have somewhere to be, but if you're going fishing, I really don't believe you have somewhere to be.
Not even important.
That is an important place to be.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And so it is easy to lose track of time because it really has no relevance at that moment. I think the only time a person really pays attention to the time of day is when the sun starts to go down and you can't see.
It sounds like a really nice, relaxing way to get rid of some of the stress, some of the troubles. If somebody is burdened, anxiety, depression, PTSD, I guess I would like to remind you again, a good way to deal with that is to call Counseling Solutions. The number's on the website, numbers on the blurb at the end of this video. Call us and ask for information about Homefront Fishing, and we'll connect you with Miss Linette Keller, and she will take care of all the details you need, including hooking you up with what we call a captain.
Yep.
How'd you get captain?
It's just a boat captain.
A boat captain?
Yeah.
They don't have to have a badge.
No. It's the person that volunteers their time with the boat.
So they don't even get paid for doing this, right? You guys just donate.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How can you afford to do that?
I work a lot.
Yeah, I've heard the Army pays a whole lot. No.
Yeah, there's been some small donations and stuff, but most of it is out of pocket from the boat. The people with the boat, they don't get anything. They're doing it out of kindness of their hearts. So.
We had Miss Linette has had someone reach out wanting to make a donation, but wasn't comfortable doing it through email, was it?
Something along those lines, yeah. It's been a while.
So, how would you suggest that they get through to us with that?
Okay. Well, we have a couple ways. We have a GoFundMe page set up that's on the HOMEFRONT Fishing website, or it's linked to our Facebook page as well. That is probably the easiest way if you already have that set up. If not, I guess we don't have a bunch of ways. As if it's not comfortable with email, then if you don't want to call or do that, then I guess the GoFundMe page is the best way to do it. Or I guess they can mail a check if they wanted to mail a check.
I think that was something else they weren't interested in
Okay.
doing. Or you can call Linette
Yep.
and just bring it by here. That might be an idea.
Or even a money order or cashier's check, and that way it's not, tied directly to a person's bank account, which may make someone uncomfortable, which we can understand with the times we're living in now. So there's always a way in which one can support, the program.
Yeah,
Over
absolutely.
monetary funds, donations, and the such. So it's just a matter of picking up the phone and calling and asking, and we can provide you with the information that you might need to either participate or even just support from afar. It's fine. Every little bit helps.
Yeah, and we are a 501c3 nonprofit, tax exempt nonprofit, so we can provide you with the numbers you need for the tax exemption.
That would be amazing. So you can donate to HOMEFRONT Fishing and still save money on your taxes.
Yeah.
That's a win-win. That is wonderful. So, Mr. Brown,
Yes.
if you had not established this organization, how do you think that people would have been the worst for it? What would they still be needing?
Still be needing somebody to talk to. And that's kind of another driving force behind me wanting to do this. Because I've had the fellow service members that have not gotten that person to talk to, and they're no longer with us. So that was kind of my another driving force behind wanting to do this, is to ultimately save lives.
I agree.
So if we can save one life, then I'm happy.
If you guys know of someone who could use this service, please forward this to them. Tell them about, what is it, www.homefrontfishing.com.
homefrontfishing.com. Yep.
Easy to remember. Please hook them up with this website, with this program. It costs nothing and you get everything. So it's definitely another win situation.
Just something I want to touch on with Dan before you go. Being a fellow veteran, you're right, and I do have friends, to include my husband, who's been diagnosed with PTSD, and he masked his for years. He did it for me, so he was good, really good. But having been here at Counseling Solutions, and really just to back that even further, what even led me to become interested in this field is, in fact, our fellow veterans and service members and their family members who do struggle with this, because it is a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And what's beautiful about it, and I do use the word beautiful, because when there's someone who has been there and they can truly understand and relate, the empathy goes a long way.
Absolutely.
It's not sympathy, it's empathy. I understand, I get it. Having worn a uniform, having deployed, having been married to a service member, and being one myself, it's different when you can hold a conversation. Wouldn't you agree? With someone who's been
Absolutely.
there?
Yeah, absolutely. Even sharing some of the stories, and you can just being able to relate, and I think that's something really unique that y'all have here, is you've got the veteran connection. Because I heard a lot of soldiers, I don't want to talk to a counselor. They don't know what I've been through. Well, that's not the case here, because you have that connection, so it really helps.
We have quite a few. One of the elements of HOMEFRONT Fishing that I just loved is the way that you guys include the intern. in the boat, as long as the person's okay with it. And that to me is like that extra, just that extra service. Once again, free of charge. You know, the veteran is fishing, the captain is there fishing. And if you're interested in that, and we really hope you are, because it would help you out a bit, the intern. And if you want someone who is a veteran intern, who can sit there and fish with you and the captain, and I mean, that might really help.
Trying to take the stress off, and even for the family members, you know, I think about spouses and kids too. Having that outlet, having someone there who does understand, to the point where there's a continuity between the veteran and their family members and that person who's there in the field who does understand. And even for, you know, the family member saying, hey, you know, well, this is what I'm seeing. And he or she is not the person, you know, who left, that's not who came back.
Yeah.
And this is the adjustment we're going through. And even for the person, you know, who did come back, they know, they recognize that they're not the person they were when they left. One of the sentiments on a personal note that I share with people is, you know, 5 minutes in any one of those theaters is too long. And it is impossible to come back in some shape, form, or fashion unchanged. It's just not possible. It's just not. And that's not to say that you always have to see the ugly. It's not so much having to see it. It's understanding the concept that today could be the day. It's just that quick. And that is a mindset that you wake up to every morning, not knowing. And the blessing is going to sleep and waking up the next day. Sleep is a different topic out there. But, it's impossible not to come back altered in some way. It's just not possible.
So you're saying that everybody could use something like this?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It doesn't mean that you saw something ugly. It's the experience of being there.
Then I have a question from a non-military person. Now, my dad was in the Army for a whole 4 years. That was it. So I'm really non-military because that was before I was born. My mother wouldn't marry if he was in the Army, so you know how that goes. So my question is, if this is such a good program, I know it is because I know people who've gone through it. Why don't more people make an attempt to call or to get hooked up with this program? What is the obstacle that's in the way?
Other than pride,
I think that's probably
the big one.
the big one. It's hard, and coming from I spent most of my time I was in the infantry. I spent most of my time in combat arms, and there's a real stigma of going to get help, and the Army has gotten better at trying to change that, but some of the, I don't want to say older folks, but some of the people that had been in back when it was taboo to go get help or go talk to somebody, it's hard to let go of that stigma because it was pounded in your head.
It was a sign of weakness.
Yeah, it was absolutely a sign of weakness. And even when I came back from my last deployment, I had to. It was difficult for me before I started this. It was difficult for me to go and talk to somebody, but my wife convinced me that I needed to.
So listening to your family,
yes,
and hearing what they have to say to you
Matters.
It should matter enough.
Absolutely.
Are there any encouraging words that, as veterans, you guys would like to tell the population, your viewers out there? Anything that could help them?
I think the biggest one is you're not alone. I think that's the biggest one, and a lot of times, unfortunately, when we lose one, and I can't even count the number anymore because there's a stat out on it every day, but the common thread has been the thought of being all alone in it, and that's not true. There are people out there, people here, obviously, who care. It's just a matter of picking up the phone or catching a ride or whatever it takes. Most people, we don't care. It's just reaching out. Because that first step is the hardest step, but once you make it, is the most important. Would you agree?
I absolutely agree. Once you just gotta make that step, because if you don't, you could potential for you to go down a dark path is
It's too easy to do.
yeah, it really is. And like I said earlier, if we can help or save one person, then we've been successful. Our mission will have been completed, and unfortunately that's a number we'll never know, but hopefully the more people that come in means the more people we're helping. So, and that's what it's all about ultimately, is helping our brothers and sisters and their families.
Absolutely.
So.
And if for some reason you don't have insurance, please remember that we have an insurance clinic, an intern clinic, which is based on a sliding scale, and there is a lot of free work that we do in the intern clinic. And this is not done by students. Our intern clinic is actually run by a supervisor, and the people who work it have their temporary licensure, and they're doing their hours after graduation, after they've received their licensure. It's a residency program. So these are not students. These are professionals, licensed professionals who are doing the therapy, and they know what they're doing, and they're very good at it. So if there is no money to be had, don't let that stop you.
Oh, please don't, because there's always a way.
We don't turn anybody away. Because we believe everybody is very valuable, and we believe that you are worth saving. So please let us help and circulate this around, share it with people you think can use the help too.
Yeah, it's not service specific.
It's not.
No,
Okay.
it's not service specific. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, Coast Guard.
It can be any route, any arm
Yeah,
of the military.
Yep.
There you go.
It's a big
Mhm.
part of my Florida piece, because there's so many veterans down there that are not Army.
Veterans, active duty, family. Wow.
Yeah, it's a great way to open up communication on that boat.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing. And there's a Fishing for Freedom, you said, this weekend. So is it on Belton Lake?
Yep, it's on Belton Lake. And tonight we have the dinner. So if you're already part of the tournament, we'll have a booth set up. You can come over and say hi, and we'll explain a little bit more about the program to you.
And it'll be all red, white, and blue.
Yeah, and we're actually doing some giveaways for free. The raffle tickets at our table will be for nothing.
Nice.
We've got a pull, some lures and some other little stuff to give away. So
Nice. Yeah, so if you go out to the lake this weekend, it may be a little crowded.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys very much for watching. And if you'd like to contact Mr. Brown, please give us a phone call here or email him at homefrontfishing.com and let us help in any way we can. We do have Miss Keller here, and she's ready and willing and reaching out for you.
Please come in.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Wasn't too painful.
No.